To the Miniatures Paintbrush. Today we're going to do the second part to a two-part series called Hexwraiths, and this is where I tackle the bases and finish it out so it can come within a theme within my army. You can use various products to create your bases. I use quite a few that I've gotten from this company called Green Stuff World, and there's a company, it's in Spain. I know I spoke to them in Spanish when it came for a while. Now, the shipping time was quite long. I would say about a month. So it took me about a month to do these bases. Only because I was waiting for the right materials. And one of the materials that I have ordered are, and I'll show you right here, it's rolling pins. This is dark ruins right here. And I'll show you what one of those look like here. Now this is a small little rolling pin and it has a lot of texture on it. And what I did was I took Metatite, which is green stuff, blue and yellow right here. Originally developed for pipes and plumbing and to patch things up, but it works really well with sculpting as well. What I did was I took some of this and I mixed it in with Aves epoxy. I'll put this down here, which is an epoxy sculpt. Now this is really soft to work with. So I mixed it, I would say 9 parts Metatite, 1 part epoxy sculpt, and it softened it up. Now another product that I used, I'll get right here, another product that I use if you've ever worked with green stuff, you notice that it is very, very sticky. I used Sculptor's Vaseline, also from Green Stuff World. So I had a lot of goodies. I also got some flocking and some base. The grass that I use is from Gale Force 9, and the birch seeds, which look like leaves, I got from Green Stuff World as well. They do have some hole punches where you can punch out little kind of leaves, different shapes and varieties. I haven't tested those out yet, maybe one day. But today I just wanted the natural flocking, the natural leaves, so this way I could put them and theme them within my entire army. Now you can get the exact same thing by taking birch seeds and drying them up so they can open up, but there are no birch seeds in my area that I know of, and I've been looking, so hey, I figured I'd bite the bullet, and since I was ordering the rolling pins from Green Stuff World, I figured that I would order those the other flocking and any kind of material that I could from Green Stuff World, all in one shot. Alright, so let's get on with this build. We're going to do the bases and finish out the Hexwraiths, and I hope you enjoy.
Alrighty, now here we have FW inks. Now I've seen FW being used before by artist Sam Lentz, and he's on Tabletop Minions. And I wanted to try it out, so I went to my local Hobby Lobby and I saw a display there, and I figured, hey, why not? I've never experimented with inks before. I do have some Vallejo inks and now FW inks, and I was thinking about picking up Intensity, and that is from Scale 75. Okay, so here I started off with that mold from Green Stuff World. I like the way it came out. And this is my experimental base. As you see, I did the ruins in there. It's dark ruins. This is how it came out after I did the molding from Green Stuff, and then I applied it onto the base itself. I had a couple of problems with my laptop, and I did have film of me rolling some of the green stuff out and then actually breaking it apart and putting it on the bases. However, that got erased. So started from scratch. This is just a test model. I did it one base gray, and then I used Coleolia green shade to get in some of the ruins, and then I used those inks to make that those glowing green ruins itself. And I'm trying to use the same kind of paints that I'm using on the models itself, so I can give it that variation. And right now, I thought this base gray was way too light, so I was darkening it up with some nun oil, just trying to get into there and darken it up. Now, I figured this is not the best way to go, and I'm going to do some pre-shading in the rest of them when I'm done with that. But this is, if you get into one and you need to repair it, this is the way to go when it comes to repairing. because when it's all said and done and you really darken this down, it does look pretty good. Here it is, nice and darkened. Not too bad. I have a lot of light shined on it. Yeah, Sean. And I did put some of the some muddy brown from Minotaur in the middle there, just as a base little coat there. And for rocks, what I did was just I do get rocks from gravel on the street. It's fine gravel. I go to the road. I look on the side of the road. I literally pick up some of those rocks if they're finely grinded down. And I put them in a little container, and I've had that for about 3 years now, and I still haven't ran out. So, and infinitely free. Now on this base, what I do is I'm using regular white glue, and I'm putting in there, and at this point I was like, okay, so now I have the idea. This is how I'm gonna flock it. This is how I'm gonna do it. I'll have the base over here. I'm not going to put I was just seeing the spots so this way I can get the grass in. And I realized the methodology in which what works for me. This is what I always do. I always put a test one before I do the original and all the rest. So now that I got this experience, let's see what we got here. I've mounted together, and this is the way it looks. And what I do is I usually spread it out, and then I put some basing materials on it as well. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Okay, with the flocking, I do have some Green Stuff World basing material there. Again, it's birch seeds, birch tree seeds, and I use Elmer's white all, glue all. I don't use the school brand one. I feel the glue all has a better adhesive quality to it, so I stick to that one. So what I do when I add the basing materials is I take this sculpting tool and I gently dab on some glue. Now, some people may use like makeup remover to do this. I'm just really careful. I think these tools are very precise, and I do like to use them. Again, this is the test one, and with the test one, I was just laying them on like that, and I kept on thinking about it. Like every time I do a miniature, I learn new techniques and better ways to do it and implement them. So the first one was a test one, and then once I get decisive about what I want to do, I hit all the rest of them in the same methodical way. Again, not too bad. I'm not the happiest with this base, but happy enough that it passes the grade at this point. This is not an entry in the crystal brush at this point. Again, I'm working towards that, so I can just keep on painting miniatures so I can get better. I do like that purple fade though. And let's take a look. We'll put it side by side with the spirit host that I have, just to see if the bases kind of match. Yeah, they're pretty themed. We're good. Okay, now to hit all the other ones. All the other ones, what I did is I did the same technique. I'm hitting it with Steinel Res right now. And I have kitty litter right there, just regular kitty litter that I use. And what I did was I put it along the sides of the green stuff. It's kind of hard to tell because it's all matte black right there. And what I'm going to do is pick that road gravel and put that on the side as well. And just straight taken from the streets. And finally, we do have some bricks from Pegasus Hobbies. I did get bricks. And there are other ways to get bricks, but I do like the Pegasus Hobby ones. They are delicate and they will break. So now that I have the green stuff on and I primed it black, and the green stuff is there, and it's all rolled out with the rolly pins and everything else. And right now I'm just going to add some of the rocks and textures to the base itself. So we have the green stuff there and they're in slabs. And now we're adding the texture. Again, some of the videos got lost because of my computer was acting up. Recently I purchased a 3 terabyte hard drive, and it's external, so it's probably slow, and it's USB mounted, so again, probably slow. But when it comes to hiding big files and getting things and cleaning up my laptop, so this way I have more room to record videos and it not crash on me because I overloaded with videos, I get so excited about sharing content with you that I just keep on recording and recording. I'm like, oh, I have a great idea. So it's almost like recording ADD, where, oh, I have another idea, and then I act upon it, because then the OCD takes over, and it's like, oh, I started something, I have to finish it. And then I finish that one, and then I start another one, and I have a great idea while I'm in the middle of that, and I get inspiration, and then I'm off to the next video, and I create that one as well, and then I put that into reserve, so this way I have an order, and I know that I'm going to release a video, and I've dedicated minimum one video per week, but I've been really excited getting responses from Vince Venturella, him mentioning me on his YouTube channel, which I'm so excited about, and recently in Tabletop Minions and the live show, it was pretty cool to hear the miniatures paintbrush being mentioned there as well, and it was just so exciting. And anyway, I get these inspirations, and I just go for it. You know, my life is too short, right? Just go for it. And I do have a love for videography. So here I am, just adding some basing material along the edges. I wanted to always test fit to see if the miniature fits on the base and having as much texture without overwhelming it. So it's like a little bit of a balancing act. And I like the kitty litter with the gravel basing. Now the gravel basing has bigger chunks and smaller chunks and all different kinds of chunks, and you can choose which chunk you kind of want. And then with the small little pieces, I do put the small pieces in there. And then I use a kitty litter, and that usually gets in between the pieces of the road gravel. So this way they have different variety of sizes, and that every inch of the glue that I'm laying down, and that's super glue that I'm using, Gorilla Glue, and every inch of the glue that I'm laying down is going to have some kind of coverage with some kind of texture, with some kind of interest, and just basically build out. So again, taking the bits that I want and kind of filling the little edges in, and taking my time in doing so. This way you can get exactly the way I want it, you know. It's sort of like brushing and airbrushing. When you're brushing and you want to take your time and really have as much control as possible, you build up the layers slowly with glazes, and you get the consistency and the opacity that you want, just by going over coat after coat after coat until you get it just so the way you want it. And it's sort of the same kind of technique and the same theory that I do for all, from start to finish with all miniatures. So even with basing materials, and some people are like, oh, whatever, I'll just put whatever base on here, and that's okay. And I'm looking in the barrel of a couple of, well, I would say, I don't know, I haven't counted yet, but I have well over 100 miniatures and maybe 200 miniatures that I'm looking down the barrel of. And I'm okay with being a slow painter. I'm okay with taking my time and doing it. Again, if you're speed painting, you have a competition, which I don't. Unfortunately, I don't play. I don't play 40K. I don't play Age of Sigmar, only because no one in my area plays Age of Sigmar. A lot of fantasy players got burnt. They moved to other realms. I know there's definitely a love for Warmer Hordes, which I think is absolutely awesome. Just to be a part of the community is absolutely awesome. So I'm getting into that. Again, those are the ones with the newbie gamers that I'm posting that series onto the site. So every time I go out there and get an experience, I want to share it with you guys through the process of learning wargaming. And so here I am basing, again, going back and forth with the rocks and the pebbles. I'm just going to do one and then coming back with all the other ones complete. So gently going back and forth, filling in those, using the methodology, knowing where the miniature stands, test fitting and test fitting and test fitting until you get it right. But those are the edges of the green stuff right there. I think it looks great. And then I'm going to do the rest. And there they are. I did all of them now, and again, test fitting, for the purpose of the video, I'm going to test fit yet again, And there are some of these that even after I put the rocks on, I had to take the X-Acto knife too and kind of cut little sections off just to make sure that it was even and it was perfect, and my OCD becomes happy. All right, now I'm going on to the Pegasus Hobbies bricks, which I ordered. And that was with the Spirit Host that I built little walls. I figured it needed something other than just that one gravestone that was there. And I was going for, okay, skeletons are coming out of the grave kind of thing. So I did put these Pegasus Hobby bricks on there. I really like them. I really like the way they look. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a brick, and then I'm putting a brick cocked off to the side like it fell off. So it looks like it's that dilapidated thing going on with the theme of like that corrosion, that death, that zombie, that post-apocalyptic kind of look where things are just like degenerated. So what I do is I put one on there and I see what it looks like with the miniature on there, and then I take that piece off and I put the super glue down and put the piece back onto the miniature, the base exactly the way it was before, or very, very similar to the way it was before. So test fitting is key. Now, if you want to be precise, I recommend getting tweezers. These tweezers are really good. I use a lot of medical supplies and dental supplies, and they really give me control. And that is a huge thing for me because I have butterfingers. I drop things all the time. Things flip out of my hands all the time. And in this type of hobby, doing that, especially if you have like metal miniatures or something like that, you're looking about ruining your paint job really easily, so you have to be really careful. Look, I just dropped one right there and I put glue on it. So isn't that awesome? There's to prove my point, right? So having any kind of tools that increases your amount of control is essential for me, because I don't even know if I would be able to build miniatures at all if I didn't have like a plethora of tools at my disposal, and thank God I have those things, to go off and actually live my dream. And living my dream, yes, I have the goal of going towards Crystal Brush and getting a bronze and doing something and taking you along with me. Yeah, that's the ultimate goal, but that is not the dream. But my dream is to build miniatures, create hobby, and share it with people, like-minded people. And that's what I'm doing now. So literally I'm living my dream. So this is an amazing experience for me, and I guess I say that in my other videos as well, but I can't say it enough. I really do appreciate you, and I'm very honored that you are here watching this video, and I really do like that you like the content that I put forth, and I will continue to do so. And if there's something you want to see, let me know. I'm thinking about that paint and chat, although maybe I'll just do a live feed. But I got to figure out how that works. I would need a moderator. There's a lot of things that I need to consider about doing something like that, like a painting chat, and kind of do something like that. I don't know. So maybe that'll develop. Again, this channel, I try to develop as much as possible, where I have always trying to get better, always trying to give better quality content and better quality video and better quality audio, and learning tips and tricks along the way to give you the best content possible. So I'm just adding those bricks wherever I can. Again, any gaps that are not filled, I can always fill in with some grass, completing the base. And I really like the look of these bricks. It really gives it that, broken down feel. And remember when doing kind of work like this and you're building in sub-assemblies like I love to do, to really get into every crooking crevice in there, you have to test fit. And that's a great fit right there. So, okay. So I'll do all the bases like this. I'll get as many bricks. I try to go in a triangle, putting triads of things in. There are all the bases. And right now I'm going to do some poster tack and put them on my beloved pill bottles. I like them because they're big and chunky, and I have big and chunky hands, and they just do help when it comes to holding onto a miniature. And I hold it with my entire fist. I'm like, I am not letting this sucker go. All right, so all the miniatures are on, and it's time to hit it. This is again with Style Res. This is just the black primer, and going over it again, going over the pieces again. The entire base to get it uniform and mat it down. Yep. I really do like Style Res. It levels itself, which is amazing. There are Vallejo ones I haven't tried yet, but right now I have a ton of Style Res, and I'm super happy with it. So I don't see myself moving with it unless I get a bad batch or something like that, which I don't see happening. Right now I'm using one of my Iwata airbrushes. My Badger had some kind of it wasn't spraying right, so I went to the Iwata. This uses a bit more paint, and I usually use it for bigger projects, but you know what, it's what I have and I will use it, and it is a great product. I like Iwata, I like Badger. I really like Harbor and Steinbeck, or at least I think I do. They look beautiful, and I'm thinking about getting one. I might pull the trigger on that. But before I do that, I'm considering getting a new camera. I do like the Canon EOS T6i. Yeah, that's pretty cool, with a camera bundle and stuff like that, and a Row kind of mic, so this way I can interview people while I go to Adepticon or something like that, if I get to go. Because I know 40K is coming out, and you know, hopefully, you know, I do have the Space Wolves. I don't know, I'm tempted. They're coming out with a new race. Oh no. Oh no, I'm obsessed, right? But that's okay. All right, so here I am. Now this time when I hit this with it's concrete slab, right? And what I did is I didn't hit the whole thing, the whole slab in concrete slab. So it wasn't like a base coat. What I did was I hit just around the edges and give some highlights to it, so it has more visual interest. And then here I am. It's that Chartstone. And I'm hitting it with a darker tone. I found that darker tone has very little variation to it when I hit it, but you know, I went for the rocks like that. Oh, that's rock, I'm sorry. So concrete slab and rock from Minotaur line. I have so many paints right now, kind of going through, kind of want to go through the Minotaur line, so I've been using a lot of the Minotaur stuff, which performance is great. Some of the stuff is a little glossy. I do find that with the saddle brown that I have is pretty glossy, and this grass green that's like just fresh grass, I'm sorry, that's pretty glossy too, and I'm not crazy about that. So it's either you got the batch or you don't got the batch. You don't have the batch. The price is just definitely right. If you're starting out in the hobby, that's my first paint set. I picked up the entire set. I think it was well, I don't know if it's the entire set, but it was like 92 bottles for like 100 and something bucks or something like that. And I picked it up like 2 years ago, and I still have all of them. Like, I have not gone through them, and I love, you know, I paint, and in fact, I'm painting terrain while buildings with it, and I'm getting great effects with it too. So I'm constantly using it, and I'm not afraid of running out, because I can always, I do have comparable colors in different lines as well. If there's one paint that I do fall in love with, and I use up, then I'll just get more of that. But I'm not totally attached to one. So you see the color variations of the stone. I really do like that. I really like the rock for the rocks as well. And I didn't completely cover it as well. And now I'm going to these FW inks again, just like I did for the test model. But this time I have a purple, and I have the that lime green and that bright green. And the reason why I do that here is because that's the theme for the army. Those are the complementary colors, the purple with that green. And I want to continue the theme, not just in the miniatures, but on the bases as well. And I kind of want to, that kind of ties in, your miniature to your base. And I feel that's really important. You need to have cohesiveness in your army. You need to have cohesiveness in your paint jobs. And when your eyes look, they can recognize, oh, okay, this is part of the miniature because of the colors. Even if you didn't really notice the colors, from afar, your eyes will say, okay, this is pleasing to me because it has the same, well, it has a very bright contrast, which grabs my attention. And then if I look at it from the bottom up or the from the top down, it has the same kind of theme and variation, and everything kind of works. It flows, it fits, and that's what I'm going for. So no matter what I do, I kind of just try to keep that theme throughout. And this is really good. I mean, I really do like the way that it turned out as far as the green stuff is concerned, and these dark runes are awesome. Now, Dark Runes is not the only roly pin that I got from Green Stuff World. Actually, I ordered the collection set part 2, I think it was, and they sent me some two wooden ones. I have an extra wooden one. Maybe I'll have a competition when I get a certain amount of subscribers, and I'll give away one of the roller pins. I think that's going to be a thing. I think maybe when I get 100 subscribers. Speaking of which, if I get 100 subscribers, then I'm going to go for a bloopers reel. I've been saving up some bloopers, and oh boy. I've tried some wonky and wacky things, I'll tell you that. Because I'm not afraid of, well, not afraid of anything, really. Definitely not afraid of death. So if you're not afraid of that, then what are we really afraid of? So, afraid of hurting the people that I love. You know, in any way, shape, or form, because I love them, and I'm afraid of losing them. But as far as me, fear is a waste of time. Common sense, that's a different story. You don't want to jump off a bridge because, like, I'm not afraid of anything. No, because you kind of know what's going to end like, right? Then you're going to look like one of the models that I'm painting here, and you don't want to do that. I mean, you know, zombie apocalypse and everything. No, life is precious. Life is precious. And wasting your time on fear is, yeah, well, it's a waste of time. I'd rather spend my time painting miniatures, loving my family, and spending time at concerts and meeting people and being social and loving life and helping the world any way, shape, or form that I can. You know, helping others. I really do like giving back. You know, that's my thing. You know. I have a very, 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 very big heart. And I've been told I was freakishly organized with my things, too. I don't know if that correlates in any way. I guess I just get things done, too. Anywho, much love. All right, so this portion, I decided to spend the regular motion and show you exactly how I paint. So this is, I guess, the longest part of this video. Doing this one base and showing you step by step on how I did it, and then using the same type of techniques, the same kind of styles, just slowly building up the inks, because inks are translucent in nature. So it's going to take you quite a few coats in order to get it. And I do like that if you add some water into it, it acts like a wash, and not your traditional wash where you just cover everything. I mean, you could, but you'll just ruin a lot of the details that you did with the concrete slab doing the airbrush and having that color variation. I just want to keep that. So what I wanted to do here is really have some brush control and hit the pieces that I wanted to hit in the crevices and fill up the crevices. So what you're doing is loading up that brush. My brush is, I'm not dry brushing or anything. I'm not wiping any of the excess off. I'm kind of just going. And here's where you practice your brush control. People's like, oh, how do you get brush control? You practice. Just like everything else. If you want to get good at anything, you need to practice. So, you know, aren't you afraid of messing up your miniatures? I mean, I'm not afraid of. So, no, I'm not afraid of messing up my miniature, because if you go over a little bit, okay, so you can take some of a neutral tone and, you know, kind of go over the edges and just lighten it up. It's not a big deal. You know, after all, it is a base, so it doesn't have to be perfect at this point. I will strive to be because I want to get better as a painter, but am I going to beat myself over it? No. Every miniature I have to improve in some way, and I don't measure my success on, and this is really important, okay? If you get take away anything from this, take away this. Never judge yourself on other people's work, because there are master painters out there that I look, and if I judge myself on their work, then I will be discouraged and I will never build another model and never try painting again. At the same time, I never think I'm better than anybody else. Everybody has a journey that they're going on. And the fact that you're on this journey to try to get better is amazing. That makes us all equal. Okay, so I'm not here to judge or anything like that. Only judges that I can see are in the crystal brush, and that's their business. Hopefully, they like my stuff. And if they don't, then, then they don't, but if they do, that would be so amazing. So always judge yourself on how you were yesterday. Or, in this case, only judge yourself on your last miniature. Like, say, okay, so the miniature before this one, I never used an ink before, and I've never done these bases with this, and I've never used green stuff. So that's a first for me, using green stuff. First for me, using those rolling pins and breaking them up into slices. Tom Mason showed me that with his sculpting videos as well. And Tom Mason is an amazing sculptor, and he's a YouTuber as well. So look him up if you haven't seen it. And I'm learning about sculpting because of that. And I do want to sculpt some things and create possibly some gravestones that I could put on some of these bases. And that's possibly a future tutorial. So what I'm doing now is that there are these dark ruins. That's the name of the roly pin. And I'm alternating which ruins I'm filling in with the ink. Some ruins are going to be green, while the other ones are going to be purple. So I'm going to alternate them, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So, judging myself on the last miniature that I did, and the last miniature that I painted were the Spirit Host. And the Spirit Host, I had a hard time with those bases. I didn't know what I wanted to do. A lot of test and error. I put some milliput on there. I built up the gravestone. I think it came out all right. There were certain elements missing. I went back and I took that leaf elements, the foliage from Green Stuff World, the birch seeds, dried birch seeds, and I added them to the base of the Spirit Host as well while I was adding them to the base here. And I just wanted to have that cohesiveness. And it actually livened things up because I thought it was kind of dull. I thought the visual interest wasn't there. Now, you can spend forever on one miniature. You can. You can just keep going back and keep going back and keep going back. Well, but like I said, I have a couple of hundred miniatures to paint, I guess. I haven't counted. I'm guessing. There's a lot. And I just picked up the 2017 Army in a Box for the Troll Bloods for Warmer Hearts. So, yeah, I am going to look forward to painting those and putting some tutorials on my Warmer Hearts, my Trollkin. I've never put up a video on that. So, I painted a whole bunch, but that's when I was just kind of getting back into the hobby and learning. And what I did was, honestly, just watch some YouTube channels, saw something that I liked, like Les Burley did, or, I caught something from Painting Buddha or something like that, which I don't think they broadcast anymore. Hope they come back. And I haven't seen Les Burley broadcast in a long, long time. We miss you, Les. Awesome paint job. So I learned some of that, and I said, hey, you know what? I want to try it. Oh, Schnauzer Face Minis. Yeah, he's a teacher too. And he did quite a few on Troll Bloods. And that's my inspiration right there, man, on my Trollkin. So that was amazing. And I used techniques like that and just kept on trying it myself. And then whenever I try anything, whenever I draw something, whenever I paint something, I try to make it my own. I'll say, okay, let me try this. This works. Okay, let me do it my way. How am I going to incorporate my signature into it? And yeah, So that's how I grew, and I'm continuing to grow as an artist. So I know Vince Venturella has a PMP. I'm a little intimidated about going out there. Not afraid, just a little intimidated. I don't know. With everything that I'm going, with the channel and everything else, and the end of the school year and stuff like that, and there's a lot on my plate. I'm actually planning a prom this year, so so time is I don't know. Actually, sleep is alternative, I guess. But it's all I guess labor of love. I love it. I really do. I love it. I love my students. I love everyone. I'm just super happy. I'm super happy getting to live my dream every single day, and I'm super lucky. I know how blessed I am. I know I am, and I thank God for every day. So here I am with the purple, again, adding where I feel could enhance. I do want to leave some of it not done. I don't want to paint all the bits. There are some edges there that I'm not going to hit with purple and or with green, and I'm going to leave it with the that rock base. And I do like that I didn't paint the entire thing uniform like that the test base. And that I left some black in there, so it has some transition from the darker stone to the lighter stone. I really think that came out well, especially while you're painting the details. Now I go ahead and do this, and yes, it does take time, but I do this for all the bases, and I'll show you some while they're done. Look at that. I think that's pretty cool, and that's what I need, like grass or anything like that. Yep, big old thumbs up. All right, here's another one that I did, and I kind of did them all, and now I'm going for some rock texture right there, and I'm going to dry brush some pieces, and I'm going to dry brush the Pegasus Hobby stones. I felt they're too black, and I'm just going to pick them up, and hopefully I got that all on camera. All right, filming when a camera is tough sometimes. Yep, and you see it, like the rock is bringing it right out. Again, it's a dry brush or a moist brush, I say. I don't, there are times where I do completely dry, but I don't know. I think with that brush in particular, I got it from the Complete Strategist. And the Complete Strategist is a store in Manhattan that, well, I was never into minis, and I saw a Protectorate of Meneroth, and it was this girl coming up, and she was in chains, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I told the store owner how much for the miniature, and he said it's not for sale. And I said, I'll give you $100, and he said it's not for sale. I said, I'll give you $200. He said he's not for sale. So I'll give you $500, and he was like, it's not for sale. And I was like, what is it going to take for me to get this miniature? And he said, well, go buy the miniature, and I'll buy you some paints, and I'll teach you some things, how to do miniatures. Now, I bought books on how to do miniatures, and I went because I didn't want to go to Manhattan every day and go there to do that. But I learned some basic stuff, and that was back in 2002. So and I've been in love with miniatures ever since. So Complete Strategist. I bought brushes there. I still have them from 2002. Most of my brushes are still from 2002. I know, I've kept them. But when a brush wears out, you use them for dry brushing or putting glue on stuff. You kind of need messed up brushes that you can mess around with. Really loving these bases. Okay, so there the bases are, and the miniatures are ready for mounting on the bases. This is exciting and nerve-wracking because once you get them on, you'd have to take an X-Acto knife to remove them. And there was just like one that I had to get an X-Acto knife to remove it. And I couldn't get the camera angle right to get the miniature on top, from that view. And get the miniature as well as, me putting it on. But I kind of look straight over it. There I am, putting my nose in the mix. And I just want to make sure it's even. And that's how I do it. I look straight down onto the model, and I see where it's sitting and see where it's even. And that's when, if I make adjustments, if I need to make adjustments or however it is. Again, I apologize for the camera angle. Really, it was very difficult for me to get it onto an angle that was best. And I think I didn't put on one of the studio lights there. It's kind of dark, in my opinion. Oopsie. So once you dry fit it, that's when you put it on to the base, or putting pieces together without any glue or anything like that. It's dry because there's no wet glue there. And then you just put it on. Again, you want to get it. I think I look over it from the top again. Sure. And here it is. Yeah, just make sure that it's nice and even, and that the back is aligned with the tip of the back of the base, and the front is aligned with the front of the base. Now, this is another first for me, and this, I love firsts. I love experimenting, so I love firsts. Once I put it on there, I'm going to try this thing called, it's called Zip Kicker, and it accelerates the drying time of the glue. So here I am holding the miniature in place, and basically it's a long time to hold a miniature in place. So this is without the Zip Kicker. So I left it there, and I think for all the other miniatures, I just use the Zip Kicker once I put it in there. And it has that. I'm going to open this up. It's from Zap. They also do another product that I use. It's called Zap-A-Gap, which I think is just glue. I'm not sure. I think it's just glue. But, I use glue to fill in gaps. And I do have videos about filling in gaps. You can check a playlist for my painting tips. And I fill in the gaps with Zip Kicker, I think it's Millput, and I don't know if it's Abe's Epoxy Sculpt, and Green Stuff, and I have Procreate right now, which is another filler, and I have, oh my goodness, there's so many fillers that I have and I bought because I want to do comparison. I haven't even used them all yet, so I'll get to. I will. So I determined the best way to use Zip Kicker for me is to kind of dip my sculpting tool on that one, and in the bottle, and then just apply it onto the base, the floor, and it dries to the point where I did not see any crazing or any kind of white residue when it was done on any of the feet or any of the legs. Now, normally when you put down super glue and you let it dry, it becomes white. This did not come white with the Zip Kicker. I think there's possibly some chemical reaction there that eliminates that. And if that's the case, I am so happy, because that's one part that, like if you're going to, like on a model car, if you're going to glue the windshield, you don't use super glue, because that'll turn the windshield white. It'll actually turn, where you put the glue, it'll turn into like this white patch, and it's just, you'll have to sand it down, and it's just like almost impossible to get off. It's really a pain in the neck, and you want to avoid all that trouble. They actually sell a special glue, which I do have. It's a tester's bottle, and it's like a liquid glass, and when it dries, it doesn't leave anything. Like, it's translucent, and in some cases you can actually use it for to create windows. If you have small window panes and you just fill that in, it'll create a window, and it's transparent. So that's interesting. It's something that Vince Venturola did, which was stained glass, which I am going to do my own type of technique in order to do it. When I build a terrain, I'm going to build a church, and I'm going to include that into my terrain. Speaking of terrain, I do have this Lonely Hearts Cottage, which is coming up in the series. It was a long video there. In the process of going to edit it, and it's a ton of editing, and next week is prom, so I'll try to get one maybe on Wednesday. Maybe I'll get it on Wednesday. You might not see me over the weekend next week, so be forewarned that I might have one video up. Although I do have unboxings. I could just throw an unboxing up. That's true. There's a lot of stuff that I unboxed. I still haven't unboxed the army set from the Trollkin, so maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I have done the skeleton horde. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I like the unboxings. As far as the unboxings are concerned, I do not get paid for any of this. Companies are not sending me anything. Okay, it's just me getting stuff and sharing in the excitement of opening a new box and checking out what's inside. I think that's a cool experience, and I want to share that with you. So now I'm just putting some white glue on and using sculpting tools to get it, and I'm using these. I got this from Gale Force 9, and it's just some grass, static grass. Now, there are some static grass applicators out there. They're rather expensive. I think it's like $50, but $20 shipping and handling for a static grass box from England, and that's pretty steep right now for a static grass applicator. There are certain techniques that you can use, like if you put the static grass down and you put a vacuum right on top of it. Now, be very careful. Don't suck down your miniature, but it kind of raises the hair bristles on it. It's kind of neat. That kind of works. But for this one, I kind of let it go all over, filling in the white glue. So once I've done the white glue, I kind of like bunch it in there and then kind of like tap it out and blow it out. And on the edges there, I kind of want to rub your fingers on an upward pattern. So this way, at least the lips of the grass are facing upward, and it gives that illusion that there is some tall grass there. There are other colors. I only have this color. I like this color because it's that bright green. Again, tying all the things together with the miniature. You got that bright green. You got the purples going on, being the complementary colors. And then there's black, which is lack of color, if you want to get technical. And then just patting this down now. And just like gently patting it down, getting it into the glue, making sure that it's the coverage is there. Because a lot of this flock kind of just blows off anyway, you know. And then what you're left behind with, you want to have enough to be sufficient. It's really coming out nicely. I like these bases. I love the Green Stuff World. The roly pins, amazing. Maybe one day I'll get different textures. Once I use all the textures, hopefully I don't need to get any more. I got a lot of cool ones. I am looking for some MDF kind of, I guess, stand that I can put those roly pins in. I don't know. Maybe I'll contact Death Ray Designs to see what they got, because they do MDF stuff. You know, maybe they'll have something. I think they're over at Buy Painted, and they have a YouTube channel too. They don't really. I haven't posted in a long time. I mean, they do very rarely. Okay, so here's that leaf. Again, birch tree seeds. If you can get birch tree seeds and dry them or put them in a bag. I put them in a bag. I think I put a little bit of a napkin in there, like a Ziploc bag and a napkin, and I just left them. You know, I didn't leave them wet or anything like that. I just left them. And the paper kind of sucked up the humidity and it dried out the leaves, and not the leaves. They dried up the seeds, and the seeds turned to that basic leaf kind of pattern. But if you can see this, one little order from Green Stuff World, look at all those leaves. And I'm not doing leaf basing. I'm adding 3 of those pieces to each base. That's it. It's just an accent. So I anticipate those leaves lasting me for the next 50 to 80 years. Which I'm just saying I might live that long. Maybe. Who knows with advances in technology. Right? 80. Yeah, I'd be 120. I don't see myself being 120. I mean, who knows? Like I said, who knows? Maybe at 120, I'll be building models with my mind. And then some kind of laser 3D printer of the model for my mind would create. And I'll have quite the imagination. So I would have quite an awesome army. Speaking of armies, when you build these Hexwraiths, you do have the Black Knights option to come with it. So you have extra bits and pieces. And I guess I can use some for terrain, or when it comes to riding a horse, I'm looking at Reaper minis. I don't know if the bones, I mean, the quality isn't, some of the miniatures, the quality is like amazing. Some of the miniatures is hit or miss. And maybe I can proxy some of the horses and put the other riders on. I don't know. Maybe I can proxy some of the riders. I do have Neferata and the other ones. Maybe I can proxy some dragons. Something they're riding dragons or something. I don't know. Probably not WYSIWYG. Don't lose your wig if it's not WYSIWYG. It's all right. Hi, I can afford more models than you. Therefore, I should be able to play in a tournament. What? I don't get that. I don't know. Me, I'm in for the aesthetic beauty, and I don't like to repeat myself over and over again. Well, here it is. There's the base done. Finally, it's pretty cool. Let's go into some of these still shots here. Thank you for joining me. See you on the flip side. It's a good little Hexwraith, right? Yes, it is. Anywho, I think these came out awesome. I really love the theme. I tried that first experiment with the first Hexwraith, and I tell you, what I do is I always do a test one before I go full out and come up with a plan. So my first base is kind of a test one, first mini. I do have a video about selecting different kind of themes for your army and getting the paints, putting them together as well. You may want to check that out. Should be above my head somewhere. Alright, well, if you liked this video and you found it helpful for your army and basing materials, please press that like button. Comment down there if you have something to say and if you liked it. Positive vibes go a long way. If you have a question, I'm available to answer any question you may have to the best of my ability or knowledge or research. If you do like these videos and you want to keep abreast of all things miniature paintbrush, hit that subscribe button and then just bell right next to it so you can get a notification when I put up a video. I try to put out a video once a week. I've been doing it twice a week. I've had a lot of videos and I did want to share with you a lot, and I do like sharing with you any content that I like. Speaking of sharing, the best thing you can do for my channel right now is you find somebody who's into this and turn them on to the miniatures paintbrush and give them a share, a recommendation through social media or however it is that you share it. Share the video. Well, I'll see you next time on the miniatures paintbrush.